Good decision this time, ladies and gents. We're finally here. Total Drama All-Stars My Way, presented by me, Blue Fang. And let's get started with seeing our absolutely ginormous cast. First off, I was trying to shape it so that way every competitor here has made it to the merge. Every single one. Lindsay in action, Lightning in Revenge, Joe won a season, so she was going to get in. Sam and Pacateo, everyone here has made it to the merge. And while the initial 14 now feel more justified, the next 14 are characters who should have been in, like Owen, who won a season, Harold, who in my continuity won a season, Cody also won, and Jasmine also won. I made Noah better, Dakota was a key player. Corey Camo Chase Jr. I forget your name. I just know it's Corey something Jr. That one's for you. There's Lashana, Justin, Topher, Sean, Dawn, Brick, and Tyler. So let's get started with the heroic hamsters. Dakota, Duncan, Lindsay, Sam, Sierra, Cameron, Zoe, Owen, Cody, Brick, Noah, Dawn, Bridget, Gwen. And let's get started with the villainous vultures. Joe, Courtney, Harold, Mike, Lightning, Heather, Scott, Lashana, Jasmine, Sean, Justin, Alejandro, Topher, and Tyler. Now, if some of these decisions seem less justified, it's because I invited too many heroes, quite honestly, so I just made it like Mike was Mal, so that's why he's there. Harold was a jerk in World Tour. Lashana agreeing. Yada yada. You'll see why. But first is the cliff jumping challenge. Mike's Svetlana for this episode, but the villainous vultures still lose, with the votes being this. Joe, Courtney, Harold voting Tyler, Mike, Topher, Lightning, Lashana, Heather, Justin, Scott and Lashana Lightning, Jasmine and Sean, Tyler, Justin, Alejandro, Tyler, Topher, Mike, and Tyler, Alejandro. So, Tyler is eliminated. He was the least useful in the challenge, and the only reason he was there on the team is because he legitimately agreed with Alejandro Season 3. Headcanon, he's probably the only one I wrote it down for. Important events. They were told depending on their actions, their teams will change, so expect a lot of team swapping. Bridget admits to Junction that they broke up with her man. Justin is gunning for Alejandro due to his strategies being very similar. Courtney starts to have a crush on Justin because breaking up with Duncan. And Topher is gunning for Mike due to last season. Challenge 2, eating a lot. I think this is a reference to Season 1's Brunch of Disgustingness. I try to have them all be references, and Mike is Chester for this, but heroic hamsters lose despite the fact they have Owen. The votes. Dakota and Duncan vote Lindsay. Lindsay votes Dawn. Sam votes Lindsay. Sierra votes Dawn. Cameron votes Bridget. Zoe, Owen, Cody, Brick, and Noah, and Dawn vote Lindsay. Bridget votes Dawn. And Gwen votes Lindsay. And Lindsay's eliminated. She's the reason that the team lost the challenge. Important events. Courtney thinks that Duncan is cheating on her with Bridget. Justin tries to take advantage of that. Mike has been moved to the heroes team, and Cody has been moved to the villains due to their actions, with Cody taking advantage of Sierra to get him out of it, and Mike just being a generally good dude. Mike and Duncan are revealed to know each other due to time in juvenile hall. They didn't have both casts interact as much, and they set up that interaction, so why? Anyways, challenge 2. Challenge 3, scavenging, and the villainous vultures lose it. Joe, Topher, Courtney, Alejandro, Harold, Cody, Topher, Lightning, Lashana, Heather, Scott, Topher, Lashana, Lightning, Jasmine, Sean, Topher, Justin, Alejandro, Justin, and Topher Alejandro. The loser is Topher. Everyone was gunning for him since what he did in Pocateo. Important events. Duncan and Courtney have a fight and both just break up and go to who I set up. Corey, I hope this makes you happy. Duncan to Bridget, Courtney to Justin. Scott and Joe stick together because how they were targeted in Pocateo. And Sierra, out of insanity, goes over to the villains team for her Cody fix. Challenge 3, Snow Fort. The villains lose. Joe, Courtney, Lashana, Harold, Sean, Courtney, Lightning. No, Cody, Lightning, Lashana, Heather, Sean, Scott, Lashana, Jasmine, Sean, Lightning, Justin, Alejandro, Justin, and Sierra Alejandro. And Lashana's the loser. She did a poor job at what she was supposed to do in the challenge and was given the boot. Important events. Mal reveals that he's going to periodically take over Mike to try and manipulate the roster to his advantage, but needs Mike so people don't suspect that it's him. Bridget and Duncan decide to be together. Aw, that's cute. Mike and Duncan are real friends and agree to help each other out. Noah and Owen make allies with Cameron, and Mal needs to get rid of Dawn. So, Mal's back, and he uses Chester in the aircraft war. So, the heroes lose. And here are the manipulated votes. Dakota, Dawn, Duncan, Mal, Sam, Cameron, Dawn, Zoe, Mal, Owen, Mal, Brick, Noah, Dawn, Mal, Bridget, Dawn, Gwen, Mal. And Dawn's eliminated. Mal deemed her a threat and she was given the boot. Mal switched back to Mike as they were moved over to the villains team, while Harold, who learned his lesson, got switched to the heroes team. Sam and Dakota grow as a couple as Noah and Gwen use Cameron to try and get Sam and Dakota on their side, and Zoe and Duncan bond, and Duncan reveals he knows who's in control of Mike. Challenge 5, Camping. The losers are the vultures. So let's start. Joe, Courtney, Mike, Cody, Alejandro, Lightning, Heather, Scott, Jasmine, Sean, Cody, Justin, Alejandro, Cody, Sierra, Alejandro, and Cody. He was the reason they lost the challenge. Important events. Sierra went insane, and now everyone is afraid for their lives. Mike goes back to Mal. Justin and Courtney are a thing, though... are now becoming a thing, and Justin just wants to use Courtney to get to Alejandro, but it's not working because he's not interested at all, and Alejandro wants Lightning out after Sierra. Challenge 6, the spy making. I believe that's a reference to the spy movie challenge. Votes. Joe, Courtney, Mal, Lightning, Heather, Scott, Jasmine, Sean, Justin, and Alejandro vote Sierra, while Sierra votes Alejandro. And Sierra's eliminated. Her insanity from losing Cody caused her team to lose, and also she was getting too much for them to handle. Important events. Lightning and Gwen switch team due to their actions in the challenge, which leads to Mal letting Mike take the wheel so he can get to Lightning. Alejandro is catching on to Mal. Courtney and Justin are targeting Alejandro due to their effects not working. Justin is also legitimately starting to like Courtney back. And now they're a thing. Scott and Joe decide to target Sean and Jasmine. Challenge 7, the puzzle race, where the heroes lose. The votes. Dakota, Duncan, Sam, Brick, Cameron, Lightning, Zoe, Brick, Owen, Lightning, Harold, Brick, Noah, Lightning, Bridget, Brick, and Lightning, Harold. And Brick's eliminated. He was a little too strict for the rest of the team to handle, so he went bye-bye. Important events. Scott and Joe decide that they will sabotage to get Jasmine off. Alejandro lets Heather in on the situation, and they agree to try and get Mal as an ally. Zoe and Mike try to make it work, but Zoe admits she can't exactly trust him yet. Duncan and Mike catch up, and he agrees on helping him out. Courtney and Justin grow stronger. I really am a 15-year-old making a depressing fan fiction. Wow. Fear boxing! The losers are the vultures. The votes: Joe, Courtney, Jasmine, Mike, Alejandro, Gwen, Justin, Heather, Scott, Jasmine, Sean, Mike, Justin, Alejandro, Jasmine. And the loser is Jasmine. She is deemed a threat, and so she was given the boot. Also, she couldn't face her fear. Mike goes to the heroes, while Cameron goes to the villains due to what he did to stay out of the challenge. Mal comes out and decides to join Alejandro and Heather to get lightning out of the game. Justin and Courtney decide that they really need to get need to get Heather to mess with Alejandro while they're becoming a better couple. Yada yada. Challenge 9, the blindfold toboggan race, reference to season 1, and I completely forgot his personalities, so let's just forget about that. And votes: Dakota, Lightning, Duncan, Sam, Mal, Lightning, Zoe, Sam, Owen, Harold, Noah, Bridget, Lightning, and Lightning, Sam. Mal's manipulation on top of his crummy performance got him voted off the island. Important events: Duncan is a huge threat due to his ability to decipher who is in control of Mike, and although he's trying to help get Mike back, Mal wants him gone. Alejandro and Heather want Dakota and Sam gone because they don't realize that Dakota went through therapy and can't go mutant anymore. Challenge 10, the flower hunt, where the heroes still lose. Votes: Dakota, Duncan, Sam, Mal, Dakota, Zoe, Mal, Owen, Harold, Noah, Bridget, Dakota. And Dakota's eliminated. The villains were trying to get her due to her mutant form, and with her not having it, she had been proving her own, which unfortunately gave her the boot still. Duncan gets Mike back for a little while, and Alejandro and Heather want Sean gone because of his skills. Justin and Courtney overhear this, and as much as they don't like him, they agree. As much as they don't like Alejandro, they agree with the decision. Duncan, Zoe, Bridget, and Mike make a true sticky to help each other around, but Mal is with Alejandro and Heather. Challenge 11, the Kung Fu Challenge, where they try to make a Kung Fu movie. Because, yeah, of course. Votes: Joe, Alejandro, Courtney, Sean, Gwen, Alejandro, Heather, Sean, Scott, Alejandro, Cameron and Sean, Justin and Alejandro, Sean. And Sean's eliminated because he was the biggest threat on the team, and so he was given the boot. Sam is depressed and is starting to become a handicap for the heroes. Mal comes back to tell us allies to get rid of Cameron because of his ability to see with Mike. And Duncan and Bridget strengthen their relationship. I did that just for you. Challenge 12, the boat racing, where the heroes lose it. Votes: Duncan, Sam, Duncan, Mike, Zoe, Owen, Harold, Noah, and Bridget, Sam. Sam was the reason that his team lost the challenge. Important events: Alejandro and Heather convinced Joe and Scott to vote for Cameron, and to sabotage Alejandro and Heather, they set up Gwen and Cameron to vote for Justin and Courtney while they vote for Gwen and Cameron. I have no idea what I was thinking. This was like 3 in the morning. Challenge 13, paintball, where the villains lose it. The votes: Joe, Cameron, Courtney, Gwen, Courtney, Heather, Scott, Cameron, Justin, Alejandro, Cameron. And Cameron's eliminated. Mal gave him the warning of how he would be a threat to him, and he got the boot because of that. And Mal's an ally to Heather and Alejandro. Merge time! Important events. Mal is back and he wants Bridget gone so that Duncan can be taken out later. Courtney and Justin join forces with Scott and Joe and want to get rid of Heather to mess with Alejandro and Noah. who decide to get rid of Justin due to how he is able to manipulate people easily. Can't talk. Challenge 14, Boot Camp. Zoe's the winner. The votes: Bridget, Alejandro, Justin, Courtney, Heather, Mal, Bridget, Joe, Scott, Heather, Owen, Justin, Duncan, Alejandro, Noah, Justin, Gwen, Harold, Heather, and Alejandro, Bridget, Zoe, Alejandro, and the loser is Bridget. The villains convinced Gwen and Harold to vote her to mess with Duncan's head. Noah and Owen join Duncan, who is in sadness but is keeping it under control, and Zoe if they take out Justin and Courtney and decide to go for Courtney first. Mal, Heather, and Alejandro realize that Joe is the biggest threat, and Joe and Scott try to manipulate Gwen and Harold to join them, but Noah and Owen beat them to it. Challenge 15, Truth or Dare. Mike is coming back as Harold is the winner. The votes: Justin, Courtney, Mal, Joe, Scott, Owen, Duncan, Noah, Gwen, and Harold vote Courtney. Heather and Alejandro vote Joe, and Zoe votes Courtney. And Courtney is the loser. She was considered the most universal threat and was taken down, which is a major part of the season. Noah targets Alejandro so that way they can get Mike back, who, speaking of which, is really close to getting rid of Mal for good. Alejandro and Heather target Joe now, while they still can, due to her performance being scary and being able to convince everyone. Challenge 16, the Totem Race. Mike is still taking control, but Alejandro is the winner. The votes: Justin, Mal, Joe, and Scott, Harold, Owen, Duncan, Noah, Heather, Gwen, Harold, Heather, Alejandro, Joe, Zoe, Heather. And Joe is eliminated. Alejandro convinced everyone that Joe is the biggest threat. Important events: Alejandro wants to vote off Owen to mess with Noah, and to do this he manipulates Justin to join him. Duncan and Zoe bring Mike back for a little, but Mal is still the one in control and warns Heather to go for Duncan since they're getting Mike back, so they convince Harold and Gwen to get Duncan off the island. Challenge 17, the Dinosaur Creator. In reference to World Tour, Gwen's the winner. Votes: Justin, Owen, Mal, Duncan, Scott, Owen, Duncan, Noah, Alejandro, Gwen, Harold, Heather, Duncan, Alejandro, Owen, and Zoe, Alejandro. And Alejandro's eliminated. Duncan's alliance had more power since they were united in their decision to vote him off. In the original All-Star season, it should have been Mal versus Alejandro. I'm just going to say that in the original season, but this is not the original season. Mal is gone for good, and Mike is now in control of his mind. With Duncan and Zoe, Noah and Owen disband and go with Gwen and Harold due to them being alone, and with agreement, Scott and Justin join up to get rid of Heather. Duncan, Zoe, and Mike want revenge on Heather, so she is also their next target. And the dance battle with Vito in control, and Mike is the winner as he comes back. The votes: Justin, Mike, Scott, Owen, Duncan, Noah, Gwen, Harold vote Heather. Heather, Mike, Zoe, Heather. And Heather's out. She was a competitor that people wanted out due to her work with Alejandro, and that is due to what he did. Important events: Scott and Justin want to take down Noah, but they need to get rid of Harold and Gwen, and to do that, they convince Harold that Noah and Owen are only using them for the vote, so Harold starts pissing everyone off, claiming that they are traitors, so he's kicked out of the alliance, and they decide to vote for Harold. Challenge 18, the Disaster Escape. Duncan's the winner. Votes: Justin, Harold, Mike, Scott, Owen, Harold, Duncan, Justin, Noah, Gwen, Harold, Justin, Zoe, Scott. And Harold the loser. Scott messed with him, and he and he got pissed, which turned people against him and got him voted off. The contestants are told that the next winner gets to pick who goes home, and knowing this, Scott and Justin realize now is their chance to make Gwen go, but Noah and Owen found out and they want Scott gone first since he's the biggest threat. Challenge 19 is the challenge show where Vito's out again, but Justin's the winner, and he picks Gwen. She was given the boot and to get rid of some power that Noah has. Justin wants to target Mike, though Scott wants to target Owen, but Scott is willing to go for Mike first due to his performance in the challenge. Noah and Owen go back to Duncan, Zoe, and Mike to try and get rid of Scott and Justin, and they go with Justin since it is clear he is doing well. And they go for Justin first since it's clear he's doing most of the work. Challenge 20, Animal Hunting. Mike's the winner. Votes: Justin, Duncan, Mike, Justin, Scott, Duncan, Owen, Duncan, Noah, Zoe, Justin. And Justin's a loser. He was given the boot so that Scott would be left with nothing and an easy elimination next time. The competitors are told that there are no more votes, so there's just losers. Hearing this, Noah and Owen feel that they are no longer threatened by Scott, and they go their own separate ways from Duncan, Mike, and Zoe. I should have clarified that. Challenge 11, Statue Assembly, and Owen's the loser. He had no idea how to assemble his statue, so he failed his test. Important events. Mike has gotten over all of his MPD and realizes that he had their skills all along. It's like cheesy Disney movies. Noah decides that in order to stay, he will sabotage Scott. Challenge 22, the Pancake Obstacle Course. Duncan's the loser of this one, and Duncan's eliminated. He injured himself so badly that he was forced to leave the island. Important events. Mike and Zoe team up with Noah to make sure that Scott will go home. Challenge 23, make your best dish. And Scott's the loser. Noah, Mike, and Zoe had sabotaged him at every turn to make sure he got out for what he did earlier in the season. Important events. Noah is scared of Zoe, and in desperation, he tries to team up with Mike, but that goes nowhere. Challenge 24, Trivia. Zoe's the loser. Mike and Noah were far better at the challenge, so she had gotten the boot. Which leads to our finale, a character who I believe I made a fan favorite, Noah, versus my personal favorite character, Mike. And the winner is, drumroll please, Mike. His very balanced skill set allowed him to easily beat Noah. So, yep, that's Total Drama All-Stars my way. I didn't change the winner because Mike is the best character in all of Total Drama, and you will never convince me otherwise. Anyways, I'm Blue Fang. If you want me to do a Redonkulous race, comment down below. But until next time, I must bid you all a good West Positioning of the Sun. Dans Vidania.